Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Daryl Aldor, Worldwide Senior Sales Manager here at iDrive. And joining me once again today is Joel Pinedo, our Senior Solutions Architect.
Hello, Daryl.
Hey, Joel, thanks for joining.
No problem.
So today we'll be discussing Microsoft 365 Backup, why it's absolutely essential, and how you can effectively protect your data using iDrive's cloud-to-cloud backup solution. Microsoft 365 has become the backbone of modern business operations. But what many organizations don't realize is that there are critical gaps in native data protection. In this session, we'll break down those risks and, more importantly, show you how to close those gaps with a reliable enterprise-grade solution. Before we dive in, a quick introduction to iDrive. We're a cloud backup provider based in Calabasas, California, with over 24 years of experience protecting data across multiple verticals. We protect SMB, enterprise, education, and the government sectors. We serve over 5 million users globally and manage more than an exabyte of storage. From a compliance standpoint, we meet strict standards, including SOC 2, GDPR, HIPAA, and ISO 27001, which is critical for organizations handling sensitive data. So when we talk about backup and recovery today, it's coming from a place of proven scale and reliability. Microsoft 365 is incredibly powerful, but it's not a full backup solution. Many organizations assume their data is fully protected by Microsoft, but as you know, that's not the case. Risks like accidental deletion, insider threats, service outages, and ransomware can all result in permanent data loss. Microsoft provides limited retention and recovery options, but those are not designed for long-term backup or full data protection. That's why 24/7 protection is essential. So this brings us to a critical concept. It's called the shared responsibility model. Microsoft is responsible for the infrastructure, the uptime, and the availability, but you are responsible for your own data. That includes protecting against accidental deletion, ensuring long-term retention, recovering from ransomware or malicious activity. If you don't have a third-party backup solution, there's a real gap in your protection strategy. So this is where iDrive comes in. We provide a full backup coverage across all major Microsoft 365 services: OneDrive, Outlook, Exchange, SharePoint, and Teams. We support both business and personal accounts, and everything is backed up by enterprise-grade security, including AE256 encryption and compliance certifications. We also perform automated backups up to 3 times a day, so your data is always protected and it's up to date. So let's talk about how the backup actually works. First, we use incremental backups, so after the initial upload, only the delta changes are captured. This makes backups fast and efficient. We also provide point-in-time snapshots, which allow you to roll back to a specific version of your data. So from a recovery standpoint, you can search and restore quickly, perform granular recovery down to individual emails or files, or you could restore an entire account if needed. This flexibility is critical when you're dealing with real-world incidents. One of the biggest challenges organizations face is managing backups at scale. iDrive simplifies this with an easy setup and intuitive administration, automatic detection of new users, seamless scalability as your organizations grow, a centralized web dashboard for full visibility, This means less manual work for IT teams and more confidence in your backup strategy. Ransomware is one of the biggest threats today. If your Microsoft 365 account is compromised, your data can be encrypted or even deleted. And paying the ransom doesn't guarantee recovery. With iDrive, your data is stored in a separate, secure cloud copy. You can restore to a clean version even before the attack. Downtime is minimized, and your data remains protected with AES 256 encryption. This gives you a critical safety net against modern cyber threats. So let's wrap it up. Microsoft 365 is powerful, but it's not a complete backup solution. With iDrive, you get full data protection, flexible recovery, strong security and compliance, and a scalable solution built for growing organizations. If you're not backing up your Microsoft 365 data today, you're taking on unnecessary risks. So thank you for joining, and feel free to reach out to us directly if you have any questions. And now I'm going to pass it over to Joel for a full-on demo.
Thank you, Daryl. Insightful information as always. Now, before I get started and demo everything, I just wanted to, briefly touch base here. So, as you mentioned, having a copy of all your data is very important. As all the reasons you mentioned, accidental data loss, ransomware, if you get hit with ransomware, it's always a good idea to have a backup copy of everything. So now have we kind of got that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and provide you a way to see the dashboard here. So can you see my screen, Daryl?
I can.
All right, perfect. So this is the web dashboard where you'll be managing the backups for Microsoft 365. So this is the general iDrive dashboard. And this is the dashboard you get when you authenticate with your 365 admin credentials. So it is a cloud-to-cloud backup platform. So as long as you authenticate, it'll go ahead and just tie in with your 365 environment. It's that easy. You don't really have to do anything else. But once that's done, and it takes a little bit of time to propagate, but you'll see all of the users are automatically added to the backup platform. And we'll go over seat management in just a little bit. But what you can see here is this is just like the dashboard overview of everything. So it'll give you a breakdown by different modules. And then there's also a backup summary here on the right-hand side. How many seats or users are selected for billing. So all of this is available as like a broad overview in the dashboard here. And what I want to focus on too is let's say you are managing multiple 365 environments or domains. You can add them here by clicking the Manage Domains in the Administrative Center. And you can add multiple domains if you need. So if you have more than one site, it's all managed here. You can even invite other users as admins. So you would just have to list their email. You can grant them full or read-only access to specific accounts. So that is all managed here in one single dashboard. Let me go back to the main view. All right, now you can see the main view again. And as Daryl mentioned previously, backups are automatically done. There is no schedule management, so that's a plus here. You don't have to manage an actual backup schedule. It's just automatically taking backups every 8 hours or so 3 times a day. And we'll go over the seat management just a little bit. But yeah, you can see here that it'll even give you a breakdown of your SharePoint sites, teams, how many teams you have, and then any shared mailboxes. So that's all visible here. All right, so what I do want to mention here is I'm going to just quickly click on activity logs. So if you wanted to break down certain system events, you can do that by date range. And then you can even select a specific status. So completed backups, pending, progress, failures. So that's all managed here. You can even select the individual modules themselves. So if you want to just break it down by OneDrive, you can do that. And you can even break it down by user as well. So we provide all of this information that you can view at any time. There's also web activity logs. So it'll just take a minute to load. But what you're going to see here in the web activity logs is for administrators. So if you need to see, someone, a login, specific login, it'll break it down, browser, user, and whatnot. So just take a little bit of time to load since this is a test account here. But once it loads, you'll see that it'll give you specific browser information that you can view. So let's just give it a minute to load here. Okay, looks like it loaded. So here you can see which user, the timestamp of everything. So if you need these event logs, they're always visible to you here. You can even download as a PDF if need be. All right, now let's go over probably the most important tab that we're going to have for this product, which is seat management. This is where most administrators are going to be looking at and essentially managing the seats. So in the seat management tab, I clicked on it and I clicked on the users section here. And this is where you would manage each individual license 365 user. So there are 3 statuses essentially that you can pick from. So active means that it'll automatically be backing up everything for that specific user. And then you'll also be billed for it. So keep in mind that our system automatically has this toggle turned on, which is called auto add. It'll automatically add any licensed seats from your 360 environment and then start backing them up. You can always toggle that off if you don't need that. And then every user, you can click on the status here on the right-hand side. So it's called backup actions. If you click this drop down, you can see there are 2 additional things you can pick from. So that is pause and unprotect. Pause, what that means is we will retain the data for that specific user, but any backups won't take place anymore until you re-enable it again. Or you can unprotect them, which means we won't back them up at all. No data will be housed, and you won't be billed for it. So pause is for situations where maybe you still want the data housed within this iDrive 365 backup environment that you can still get for that specific user, but you don't want any backups to take place anymore. Let's say an employee left after a year or so, but you still want to keep that data housed for a certain period of time. You can always just hit the pause and it'll pause backups, but all the data will still remain on the account. So that is available to you here. But it is that simple. Seat management is that's all that's required. And we have a number of different options here. I mean, the one important thing that I want to mention is this toggle at the top, which will refresh seats. So let's say you create a new 365 user in the Microsoft side, but our system hasn't captured that change yet. You can always just manually hit this button to refresh the sync, and then you'll see that the user will now be added here in this iDrive web dashboard. All right, so now that we've gone over seat management, and keep in mind that this seat management applies to everything. So individual SharePoint sites, you can change that. You can unprotect, pause it. So that is all available here. And once again, it goes for every module. Now I'm going to go over recovery. So I'm going to hit the recovery tab, and I'm going to drill down to Outlook here. But it's for everything, it's going to be the same view. And what you can see here is it populated some test data, different individual users. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this here. And what you can see is we're now loading in to this specific individual license 365 user and all the data for this point in time. And you can always change it by clicking this calendar icon here. So you can even go back, let's say, to the 10th. And then you can see here that there are 3 backups to choose from. So you can just load that specific point in time. And all the data for that point in time will be loaded. You can restore by individual folder, file, the entire snapshot. So all of that is available to you. Let me just checkbox these items. If I click restore, you can see that I can restore it to the same individual user, or you can restore it to a different user. So you have those options available to you. You can do new folder, or restore it to the original location. You are also able to export the data if you need that. So if you want to export your data to your local machine, you can do that as well. It'll be in a so for this is Outlook. You have the two choices, PSC or Mbox, and that will be downloaded as a zip file that you can export on your local machine, and do what you want with that. So that's about it. It's really that simple. For it recovering any data for those specific licensed individual users. I'm also going to go over the settings tab here on the left. So this is pretty straightforward, but let's go over that. So that'll be enabling email notifications for the backups that take place. So if you want to be notified of that, you can select a frequency. So you can put daily or weekly. You can even add as many email addresses that you want to be notified. And this is a new feature, but we also have the ability to export your data to different cloud providers. So you can, export that data to all of these services here. So that'd be AWS, Dropbox, Google Drive. So that's available to you as well if you need that. And the last two things we got to go over will be if there's any backups in progress, you can view them through what you saw here at the bottom left-hand corner there. It'll show you any backups that are currently in progress and which module. So if you need to take a look at that, you can. And last but not least, we're going to go over the region here. So when you first enable the account, it's going to ask you a region. So we have a multitude of different data centers, across the world. So there are different edge locations you can pick from. Typically, you choose the location closest to you for latency purposes. And once you do that, then all you'd have to do is just manage the seats, and backups automatically take place, and you'd be able to recover them at any time, independent of 365. All right, Daryl. So it looks like that about wraps up the demo here.
Well, thank you so much for all the information. Once again, very enlightening for those of you who are looking to protect your Microsoft Office 365 environment. Feel free to reach out to us for a personal demo or even a trial. We can provide a 7-day trial or even extend it to a full month. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you, everyone.